it's Destiny, and today I'll be going over Ashveil's kit, teams, builds, and more. Let me know if you're pulling Ashveil or saving for a different character, and if you'd like to see some more content from me, consider subscribing to the channel, leave a like to support today's video, and now let's get straight into it. Ashveil will be a lightning hunt character who specializes in follow-up attacks and is able to debuff enemies, which helps Ashveil's own damage output as well as the other characters on the team. Starting with Ashveil's talent, he will start with 2 charges and can hold a max of 3. When an enemy afflicted by bait is attacked by another ally, Ashveil will also regenerate a fixed amount of energy and will consume 1 charge to launch a follow-up attack against the bait. This will also allow him to gain stacks of gluttony. The additional energy is great for Ashveil to use his ultimate more frequently, and as for bait and gluttony, Ashveil will be able to mark 1 enemy as bait. And Gluttony will be useful for boosting the damage dealt by Ashveil's follow-up attacks and is useful for his ultimate, which we'll get into shortly. Moving on to Ashveil's skill, he'll deal damage onto a single enemy and marks that enemy as bait. And if that enemy is already marked as bait, when you use Ashveil's skill on them, you'll deal additional lightning damage and recover 1 skill point. When bait exists on the field, all enemies' defenses will be reduced as well. This is very beneficial for Ashveil's personal damage output as well as the rest of the team. Additionally, when Ashveil uses his skill and ultimate, he'll gain Gluttony. As for Ashveil's ultimate, he will mark 1 designated enemy as bait and deal lightning damage onto that enemy. Launch an enhanced follow-up attack onto them and Ashveil will gain 3 charges. When Ashveil possesses Gluttony, for every 4 stacks of Gluttony consumed, he'll additionally deal 1 instance of lightning damage. And if this follow-up attack instance deals a killing blow to an enemy, it will continue to deal damage to a new bait until Gluttony becomes lower than 4 stacks. It is worth noting that whenever an enemy does suffer from a killing blow, Ashveil will also gain 1 stack of Gluttony. Overall, this can be pretty useful when facing multiple enemies, as you can get rid of the little enemies and Ashveil's follow-up attack will continue to deal damage to the new bait until Gluttony becomes lower than 4 stacks. This can actually be pretty fun in modes like Pure Fiction. Lastly, for Ashveil's technique, he'll deal lightning damage to all enemies and gain 1 point of charge. Ashveil will be able to deal frequent follow-up attacks, self-buff himself, buff allies, and debuff enemies with his kit. When it comes to team building with Ashveil, on release you can either use him as a sub DPS or a main DPS. And for the teams you can consider using, for a dual DPS team you can use him alongside Feixiao, as he'll be able to debuff enemies for her, deal frequent follow-up attacks of his own which can help with getting Flying Aureus stacks for Feixiao. Feixiao is also able to attack frequently herself, which can help with Ashveil getting more energy from the bait being attacked, resulting in him using his ultimate more frequently. The rest of the team would consist of another follow-up attacker or support, and then a sustain. Some options you can consider using can be Feixiao, Ashveil, Cipher, Tribbie, and so on. As for sustains, a nice free-to-play option can be Dan Heng PT, you can use Aventurine, and so on. Now, for other teams, if you want to use Ashveil as a main DPS, some supports you can consider using with him can be Tribbie, Cipher, Rumored Trailblazer, Tingyun, Pela, Sunday, Sparkle, and so on. Tribbie will be able to provide ult-type res pen, vulnerability debuffs onto enemies. When Cipher is on the field, all enemies will be inflicted with a vulnerability debuff, and she also has follow-ups in her kit as well, which can nicely help out with Ashveil getting more energy. Remember, Trailblazer will be able to give Ashveil more crit rate, the true damage buff, more crit damage, the action advance. Tingyun can provide Ashveil with some more energy as well as attack buffs. Pela will be able to reduce all enemies' defenses, and when it comes to Sunday, he can also provide Ashveil with crit rate, crit damage, damage boost. If you are using Ashveil with Sunday and Dan Heng being able to give Ashveil a summon means that you'll be able to give Ashveil the full damage percent buffs from Sunday's skill, and on top of that, Sunday can also assist with giving Ashveil more energy, the action advance, and so on. As for Sparkle, she'll be able to advance forward Ashveil, she'll be able to provide nice buffs for Ashveil to further improve his damage output, and if you were to use alternative teams with 2 follow-up attackers, This can consist of Ashveil with Moze, Boba March 7th, and Jade can also be a fun option for pure fiction, which I'll also try showcasing this for you all very soon. When it comes to team building with Ashveil, having characters on the team that can frequently attack enemies is very useful, as this will allow Ashveil to get more energy from the bait being attacked. And in the case of Ashveil's current teams, I would say that there is a chance in the future he may end up being paired with a new follow-up attacker for a stronger follow-up centric team, but this is uncertain at the current moment. And when it comes to the Ashveil teams I've discussed, I'll be showcasing some in a few days, so do stay tuned for those videos as well. And if you do have any requests, let me know in the comments down below. Now when it comes to building Ashveil, for his relic sets, I would recommend Ash Blazing Grand Duke, Eagle of Twilight Line, and you could also consider the Pioneer set as an option. As for Ashveil's planar options, you can use Duran Dynasty, the new planar set coming in 4.1, Banana Amusement Park if you're using him with Don Hung PT, or Izumo with another Hunt character. As for main stats, I would recommend a crit body. Crit rate in particular can be very useful for getting near 100% crit rate for Ashveil, attack boots, lightning orb, and if you don't have a lightning orb, then you can use an attack orb, and then we also have attack rope. As for substats, I would recommend crit rate, crit damage, and attack. As for light cones, I would recommend his signature light cone, Baptism of Pure Thought, the Hell Where Ideals Burn, Worrisome Blissful, Cruising in the Stellar Sea, and so on. Now when it comes to Ashveil's value, due to his current banner placement and the duration of 4.1, I would say that it is a bit harder to recommend pulling him on his release due to the fact that he is in between 4.0 and 4.2. 4.0 introduced the new Elation path and Elation mechanics, as well as 2 Elation characters, being Yao Gong and Sparksy. And 4.2 will have Evanescia, the new Silver Wolf, Elation Trailblazer, and so on. For those who are interested in the Elation playstyle and either have pulled Yao Gong, Sparksy, or both, or even those who are interested in the new Silver Wolf or Evanescia, it is harder to recommend pulling Ashveil at the current moment, as version 4.1 will only be for 4 weeks, which would give a small amount of time before 4.2 is here with Silver Wolf's banner, and Evanescia's banner will likely be the second half of version 4.2. Additionally, it is very likely that for a good while the Elation team will be favored in endgame when it comes to endgame buffs and new enemies, and with 4.2 having both Silver Wolf and Evanescia, the Elation team will expand and become even stronger, likely resulting in the Elation team becoming one of the strongest teams in Star Rail. In the case of Ashveil, there is a chance that we will eventually get another follow-up attacker that can nicely synergize with him and further improve the strength of the follow-up team, but at the current moment, this is uncertain. This can result in him being a better option to potentially consider for a rerun though, especially if you are interested in the anniversary characters in version 4.2. Now this advice is mainly for those who are unsure about whether or not they should pull Ashveil, but if Ashveil is one of your favorite characters and you're determined to pull him, then I hope your pulls for him go very well. Overall, I'd love to know what you all think about Ashveil and if you'll be pulling for him or skipping, and lastly, if you want to see more content from me, consider subscribing to the channel, leave a like to support today's video, and I hope to see you all next time. Peace.